Hi, my name's Dan Castellano. I'm an American living in Tokyo. I've been here for about 15 years, and today I want to talk to you a bit about the way I perceive the coverage of the Sendai Earthquake, resulting tsunami, and Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant situation. I think the foreign media has done a very poor job of representing the facts, and in result, they've caused panic where it's not necessary. And as a result of that, we've diverted attention away from the people who truly need it in Tohoku. And I want to try and put a stop to that immediately. So a couple of things I'd like to discuss is, first of all, I think the use of terminology that I've seen in the foreign media, words like nuclear meltdown, Chernobyl, other words, catastrophe, they're words associated with the nuclear plant that are exaggerations. And it's caused resultingly panic shopping in the Tokyo area. People fearing that the radiation could hit in very high levels and cause damage similar to what we've seen in Chernobyl in the past. This is not based or grounded in reality. The measurements that they've had of radiation taken from the nuclear plant itself is strong for the local vicinity. It's something that needs to be taken seriously in the Fukushima region and the surrounding regions. But for the short-term effect on the Tokyo area, it's absolutely minimal. We're about 150 miles away from the nuclear plant. This is the foreign media has not done a very good job of representing the geography of everything. Anytime you say the word Japan, a lot of people think Tokyo. I've had a lot of friends and people I know overseas concerned for my well-being in Tokyo, but I can tell you that with the exception of panic buying and a lot of people leaving the region and the country right now, things are not that abnormal. The earthquake did not hit us very hard at all, comparatively speaking. There was a lot of shaking, obviously, of the buildings. I'd never felt an earthquake so strong in my life. But there were relatively few casualties compared to up north. But I feel the foreign media hasn't done a very good job of giving a good sense of how the two regions are related to each other distance-wise. So that's one thing. And another thing I found is I think that the imagery that's been used, the video that you see, the shots that you see on TV, they've done a very good job of scaring people into thinking that the radiation is a much bigger problem than it currently is. Something like a Hollywood movie, the way they choreograph it to music, you know, and obviously the suits that people are wearing in the testing centers right now. There are many precautions being taken, and I think that's been taken out of context. That the Japanese are being so careful right now to make sure the problem doesn't get any bigger than it currently is. That by the looks of it, it looks like the problem has grown out of control, when in effect it hasn't. And certainly for Tokyo, actual Geiger counter readings indicate that while there was a spike in radiation levels over the past few days, that they are not at all at levels which would cause bodily harm. They're not levels you'd want to continue over an extended period of time, but that's something to be dealt with more in the long term. And even at those levels, it still wouldn't pose a serious threat to our health here. And another thing that I wanted to talk about is, in terms of the context, is a couple of things. One of the things you might be seeing on TV are pictures of Japanese people wearing surgical masks, which has been portrayed before as an indication of fear in the Tokyo metropolitan area that radiation would hit, and distrust for the government and TEPCO in regards to what we're being told and how bad the situation is. I've got one of the surgical masks right here. These are very common in Japan. Japanese people wear these when they catch a cold. But even more important this past week is the fact that there's been such high pollen counts in the air. Spring is just coming right now, and due to that, pollen is very strong. And so you'll find Japanese people wearing these, going to work and outside to avoid catching hay fever, as they go along their day. So it's really not abnormal to see a large number of these masks over the course of the beginning of spring. Another thing that I've felt is the way the media has portrayed the so-called mass exodus of foreigners out of Japan in the midst of this entire crisis. One of the things that needs to be taken in context is that there are a lot of English teachers that work in Japan. And this is the end of the Japanese school year, this 1 week or two in the middle of March. All the graduation ceremonies are done. So a lot of the English teachers were planning to go overseas anyway. And when this whole thing came down, a lot of the schools have closed for the next week or so. So it was an opportunity to extend their vacation. So a lot of people just extended their vacations and left early. That was one thing. This is a very peak travel season. There are a lot of foreigners coming through Japan regardless. So that's another reason for crowding in Narita. It can't be denied that a lot of foreigners have left the city. Most of my friends are not here right now. Primary reason for that is families and friends overseas who have been exposed to the paranoia in overseas media have put a lot of pressure on people here in Japan to get out. And it's understandable, but at the same time, it's not grounded in reality, and it's caused more panic that has been needed. In general, for the entire country, and if you look at the media, there's been so much focus placed on the nuclear threat that I feel there's been a lot of attention and resources diverted away from where it's needed most, and that's the tens and hundreds of thousands of people now that have been evacuated and are without homes. They're lacking supplies, and these supplies that could be diverted from the Tokyo area have been bought up in this wave of panic shopping that has engulfed the area over the past week. It's not to the point where we can't eat or survive, but a lot of the items like gas burners or other survival items that can come to use in these cold days ahead cannot be diverted because they've been bought up. And that's going to be a problem moving forward. And one of the things I feel right now that I can do personally is try and convey to people overseas and to the media that these misconceptions need to stop, and we need to refocus our energies on the recovery effort for the over now, I believe, 250,000 people who are without homes in the Tohoku region. And it's very cold out there right now. We need to do something. We need to do something now. So please stop all of this paranoia, and let's get back to the facts. Thank you.